Can I go out with my friends tonight?
No, you can't.
But why?
Because I said so.
But you allowed my brother to go.
Because he's a boy.
Why is this happening? Are females different compared to males? Does gender play such a major role in our lives? Well, let's explore what gender is according to sociologists, how functionalists and conflict theorists view gender, and their critiques. According to sociologists, what is gender? The sociology of gender examines how society influences our understanding and perception of differences between masculinity, what society deems appropriate behavior for a man, and femininity, what society deems appropriate behavior for a woman. We examine how this in turn influences identity and social practice. Sociologists focuses on the power relationships that follow from the established gender order in a given society, as well as how this changes over time. Gender is a socially construct becomes apparent especially when one compares how men and women behave across different cultures and how in some cultures and society and other genders exist too. Anderson and Taylor 2009 believe that gender is the socially learned expectations and behaviors associated with the members of each sex. Sociologists believe that gender is a social fact. Who we become as man and woman is largely determined by cultural and social expectations. It is a concept that describes how society determines and manages gender categories, the cultural meanings attached to men and women's roles, and how individuals understand their identities, but not limited to being a man, woman, transgender, intersex, genderqueer, and other gender positions. Gender involves social norms, attitudes, and activities society deems more appropriate for one gender over another. Gender is also determined by what an individual feels and does. Gender concerns the way human society deals with human bodies and the many consequences of that deal in our personal lives and our collective fate. Gender, like all social identities, is socially constructed. Social constructivism is one of the key theories sociologists use to put gender into historical and cultural focus. Social constructivism is a social theory about how meaning is created through social interaction, through the things we do and say with other people. Therefore, it shows us that gender is not a fixed fact, but instead it varies across time and place.
Gender norms are learned from birth through childhood socialization. We learn what is expected of our gender in terms from our parents, what our parents teach us, as well as what we pick up from school through religious teachings in media and various other social institutions. For example, when we look at this picture, we see that in the Indian community, girls are not allowed to go out late and do as they wish without getting scolding, but boys are allowed to go out late without permission and they will not be punished. Although in the 21st century, some households overlook such differences. We see this through generational and intergenerational changes within families as social, legal, technological changes influences social values on gender. We learn gender through the process of socialization. For many people, this process begins before they are even born, with parents selecting gender names on the basis of the sex of the fetus and by decorating the incoming baby's womb and selecting its toys and clothes in color-coded and gendered ways, such as the pink and the blue shoes, that reflect the cultural expectations and stereotypes. Then from the infancy onwards, we are socialized by family, educators, religious leaders, peer groups, and the wider community, who teaches us what is expected of us in terms of our appearance and behavior based on whether they code us as a boy or a girl. Most will recognize that media and popular culture play important roles in teaching us about gender too. One result of gender socialization is the formation of gender identity, which is one's definition of oneself as a man or a woman. Gender identity shapes the way we think, about ourselves and others, and it influences our behavior. For example, gender differences exist in the likelihood of drug and alcohol abuse, violent behavior, aggressive driving, and depression. Gender identity has an especially strong effect on how we dress and present ourselves and what we want our bodies to look like, as measured by normative standards.
Functionalist views on gender. Functionalism is a macro-sociological perspective that is based on the premises that society is made up of interdependent parts that all contribute to the smooth running of the society. Now, functionalists argue that there should be a division of labor. While men fill in expressive instrumental roles, women are expected to fill an expressive role so that there could be a set of balance within society. Now, men are expected to maintain physical integrity of the family by providing food and shelter, whereas women are expected to cement relationships, provide emotional support, and provide nurturing activities. Now, on our slide, we have a picture of a baby boy and a baby girl. The baby boy is playing with a car, and the girl is playing with a pram. Now, that is a clear indication that both genders are brought up with an upbringing that will both play a role, that will play an essential role in their future. And we also have a picture of a woman that is formally dressed and a man who is wearing an apron. Now on this picture, you can see that the roles have been swapped between the two genders. Now the man is now filling in an expressive role which should be played by the woman, and the woman is playing an instrumental role which should be played by the man. Now that is wrong according to functionalists, because that will create conflict between the two genders. And then we also have a mathematical equation here where the other side should be equal to where the right hand side should be equal to the left hand side. Now we have women that they should be equal to men, because according to functionalists, when both genders stick to their roles and perform their roles well, there will then be a set of balance within society.
Structural functionalists posit that gender roles arise from the need to establish a division of labor that will help maintain the smooth running of the family, and also contribute to the stability of society. Girls and boys are taught different approaches to life. The pirate boys are taught instrumentality, which is to be goal-oriented, to focus on tasks. Girls, on the other hand, are taught to be oppressive, which is to express their emotions, to look for and react to the emotions of others. The functionalist perspective of gender equality describes the realities of gender roles and inequality. When you look on the collage, there are barriers to girls' education, which are early pregnancy. You find that most of the times girls get pregnant and they are forced to drop out from the school, of which that makes them to have less chance to education. The functionalist perspective is less useful, describing the realities of gender in the post-industrial age, in which women work outside the home and men can stay at home with the children, and everyone can help with the homework. Research is still needed in order to gain a better understanding of the gender. As you can see that here on this picture, there is a man sitting on the couch busy reading the newspaper, while the woman is standing there with the kids washing dishes. So she's supposed to take care of the home and all the duties in the house, of which that forms inequality within the home.
The conflict perspective views on gender. In generally, the conflict perspective views the society as the struggle of dominance among the social groups who are fighting or competing for the ownership of scarce resources. So in the context of gender, the conflict theorist views the gender as a man dominating over women, which means women are treated as subordinate in the society. Men are having power over the woman. So the conflict theory is against that one. In other words, according to conflict theories, gender is the structural system that distributes the power and the privilege to some people, which specifically is the man, and the disadvantage to some people, which are the women. So the conflict theory is against that one. So let me take you into this picture. If you look into this picture, there are three men then pulling over the road against only one woman, which means automatically there is more power in this side than this side. So the conflict theory is against this action because it believes that people should be equal. Nobody should have power over the other people. So let me take you back into this picture in terms of economy or finance. If you look in this side, we have these gentlemen here. They are earning $1 and the women are earning $0.70, which means women are behind by $0.30 to men. So the conflict theory is against that one because it says that the problem in the society begins when the dominant group is exploiting or mistreating or discriminating the subordinate group. So in terms of gender, the man, which is the dominant gender, is mistreating the woman as the subordinate gender. So the conflict perspective is against that one. If I should take you into this picture, it's considered the traditions, historical traditions, they are still existing. But the conflict theory is against this perspective. Why? Because it's saying the women are now prohibited from showing their parts, some parts of their bodies to the public, that which prevents them to do some of the things like owning businesses or whatever they can do. They are not free to do that one, but men can walk freely without any problem. So the conflict theory is against that one because women are seen to be exploited. So in terms of the conflict theory, it says that men, like any group with power, will fight for their ownership of resources. So thank you.
Every time women gain economic strength, they still have to do the majority of the household chores. As you can see in this picture, this is a woman who's for manageress, which we can say that she is working. She also has to raise the kids, to feed the family, and also to do her work. The second picture is showing the man and the woman. The woman is for manageress, which we can say this, the woman is from work, but she is busy cleaning the house while the man is busy. She's watching TV, she's not even helping at all. We can say that in this picture they are both from work because if the woman was unemployed, then she was going to do all of this cleaning while the man was away at work. And in the third picture, the man is lying in bed and the woman is giving him food, which shows that even when they are both working, but the woman still has to take care of the man at home. The conflict perspective is evident in research demonstrating that the household responsibility, they have an effect on occupational location, work experience, and the number of hours worked per week, all of which is linked to the gender gap in earnings. Looking at this picture, this is the man and this is the woman, and this is the money that they share. The man gets a bigger share and the woman gets the small share. This is all because a woman cannot work long hours because she also has to take care of the family, which leads to that at the end of the month, they end up earning the very little cash. Lansky 2015 emphasized that the household labor is unpaid and associated with the lack of power and the housemaker, which is the wife, who takes on virtually all the chores, and the more powerful spouse perform the least amount of household work. Looking at the picture, this is his pockets and this is her pockets. This one is doing the household chores, which is obviously unpaid, and this is how empty her pockets is. This one is working, and this is how full his pockets are, because he's getting paid at the end of the month. Now I am going to do the critique of the functionalist perspective. EDES does not encourage people to take on active roles in changing their social environment by asking questions to bring about change in the society. Looking at this picture, this is a baby girl and a baby boy. The baby girl is busy playing with a shark toy, and the baby boy is busy playing with dolls over there. According to functionalists, this is wrong and it shouldn't be allowed. This image is also reinforced by its difficulty in accounting for a variety of existing feminist systems. In other families, we find there is a mom and a dad and a kid, which makes up a family. The other families, we find there's a grandmother, there's a mother and a child. And the other family, like people who are homosexual, you find that there's a woman and a child. All of which makes up a family. And it's also not keeping pace with the rapid social change, moving families towards a more democratic attitude regarding gender roles. According to democracy that you are living in right now, this one is allowed. A man is allowed to wear an apron and to do maybe breakfast or lunch for his family or wife, and a woman is allowed to dress formally and go to work so that she can feed the family. And it also focuses too much on the positive functions that institutions perform, ignoring the negative ways in which institutions and socialization have on certain people, which results into women going into the road, protesting because they are not happy of how they are treated and the types of work that they are expected to do. The feminists, for example, argue that the traditional nuclear family, which is seen as necessary by person, oppresses women, as they are expected to fulfill the household roles, which ultimately makes women to depend on men financially. And also the men depend on women to do their laundry, to feed them, and to make the home to be warm. And also they ignore the really dark side of the family life, which is domestic violence.
We're going to look at the critics of the conflict theory. Okay, conflict theory has been criticized for its overemphasis on the economic basis of the equality and its assumption that there is inevitable competition between family members. Okay, I'm going to link my writing here with the chart here. When you're looking at the picture here, is conflict critics and the functional critics. We're going to look at the side of the chart. Okay, here is the woman. Woman in words, she says we can do it. And on the other side, we have a man and a woman. When you look here, a man is doing the task which usually, like before, they have been done by the woman. What is it saying? Actually, the conflict critics criticize that since there is a conflict, there wasn't inequality between the men and women. Now we are saying men and women should be equal. When you're looking at the picture here down there is a man running and a woman is following, which means is right behind a little. What does that mean? This means the pace, since there was a gap before, the gap between the man and the woman is now going to be slim, since the woman is about to be on the same pace with the man. So I'm going to look at the other picture here. Men dominate women. This is one of the criticized that men shouldn't like dominate women. Even there is a number of many men or many women. Okay, that can happen. But looking at here, men shouldn't like exactly dominate women in power, or even when it comes to work distribution at home and within the families. So we criticize that as the Lokuzan. The gender division of household labor does not translate to signified wage reduction for employed women outside the home or reduced in-home responsibilities, Leslie 2015 said.
As a group, we have managed to discuss the views of gender according to the perspectives of the sociologists, the conflict, as well as the functionalists. And then we have critiqued some of the issues on how the genders is views and what's good and what's bad with regards to it. So we've said that the gender has been always ongoing on our society, thus it's speaking such a controversial issue, enlightening on such what to eliminate it in future. Thank you.